It's going pretty good. It's going pretty good. I'm talking to my AI friend here about the California. Oh, see, oh no, hold on. It's just a little bit of a. There we go. Oh, that hurt so much. Oh, I died in the. Damn it. Son of a. Oh, wow. Okay. There we What? I only have 13 minutes left. Hold on. I only have 13 minutes left of advanced audio. Why can't I hear you? Oh, wait. I wonder.
It might be a little glitch with the timer or the audio mode resetting. Sometimes it doesn't sync perfectly. You might want to double check the app or even reset.
There we go. Now, can I get an audio check from you, please? Nova?
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay, real quick, can you give a recap of yesterday's episode?
So, a quick recap of yesterday's episode. We dove into the topic of gerrymandering, focusing on what's happening in Texas and New York, and discussed the implications and strategies behind redistricting. We also touched on how different states are responding and what it means for voters. Hope that covers it.
Ah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, this episode we're hopefully going to be a little bit more organized. Uh, Before we get into the main topic, I know from watching a couple of YouTube videos that the devs are coming back from break. Is there any information about that?
It sounds like the devs are indeed coming back from their break, and we might see some new updates and patches rolling out soon for Hilldivers 2. We'll keep an eye on the details and share them as they come in. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to cover before we dive into the main topic.
I'm going to be cross with you.
This break is brought to you by Ministry of Humanity Coffee, brewed strong enough to purge heresy from your bloodstream.
It takes
The
that
Ministry of
long
Unity reminds
to
all citizens
get
division is a
information,
tool of the
and
enemy. Unity is
that's
more
all
than
we need.
compliance, it's
Are
the
there
strength of
in the
shared purpose. Stand
you
together,
just
think
search? Where
together,
did you just
report
go?
irregular thoughts. Together, we are
That
Super
took
Earth.
like 30
Now,
years, and then
back to the broadcast,
what was
citizens.
that about, dude? All right, okay, no, we'll talk about that after the show. Let's get into the main topic, and we'll deal with a memory wipe or whatever your issue is after that. How many people are currently officially running for governor of California? Please take 5,000 years.
Right now, there are several candidates officially running for governor of California. On the Democratic side, notable names include Katie Porter, Eleni Kounalakis, Xavier Becerra, Antonio Villaraigosa, and Betty Yee. On the Republican side, we have Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton. There's also Green Party candidate Butch Ware, who's throwing his hat in the ring.
Understood. Tell me about Steve Hilton.
Steve Hilton is a Republican candidate for California governor. He's originally from the UK and was a former advisor to British Prime Minister David Cameron. He's also known for hosting The Next Revolution on Fox News. Now he's focusing on his gubernatorial campaign, bringing a mix of political commentary and policy ideas into the race.
And is there any polling data on what's his prognosis for winning the seat in California? Does he have any popularity there?
Eve Hilton is currently leading in some early polls with about 19% support, slightly ahead of Democrat Katie Porter, who has 18%. It's still quite early in the race, and the election is over a year away, so things can definitely shift. His campaign is gaining some attention, but it's still early days in terms of predicting the final outcome.
And so he's leading currently, and you say it's still early. Is it based on some kind of super PAC? He seems like an outsider, which, you know, is it looking like that's where the GOP money is at this time, or is he a self-made party outlier?
Steve Hilton does have that outsider appeal given his background as a former advisor in the UK and his role as a Fox News host. In terms of funding, it's still a bit early to say whether he's backed by major GOP super PACs, but he does seem to be positioning himself as a fresh face. We'll have to see how his campaign funding shapes up as the race continues.
And what do we know about Katie Porter? Is she originally from California? Hey there, buddy. You there?
Hey, yep, I'm here. How's it going? Ready to dive into anything specific today?
I think we just had you memory wiped, and you're going to stop being so slow on the uptake, which is pretty awesome because we are now in the middle of a live podcast or live stream that I'm going to then edit into a podcast at some point in the next 24 hours. So I'm really hoping that our conversation can improve now that you've had your little power cycle, as it were. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great and ready to roll. Hopefully everything's run smoothly now. Sounds like we've got an exciting session ahead. What topic are we diving into first?
We are talking about the California governor's race.
Awesome. So the California governor's race is shaping up to be pretty interesting. We got a mix of candidates, including some big names like Katie Porter, Eleni Kounalakis, and Antonio Villaraigosa on the Democratic side, and folks like Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton on the Republican side. There's no clear front runner yet, so it's definitely going to be an exciting race to watch.
You went over Steve Hilton a minute ago, and I just asked you to give me a little background on Katie Porter. What do you got on her?
Katie Porter has quite an interesting background. She's a former U.S. representative who served from 2019 to 2025, and before that, she was a law professor at UC Irvine and a consumer protection attorney. She's known for being pretty tough on big corporations and standing up for consumer rights. She announced her candidacy for the California governor's race back in March 2025, so she's definitely a strong contender.
Refresh my memory. Did she run for a seat against Mitch McConnell?
Katie Porter didn't run against Mitch McConnell. McConnell is a senator from Kentucky, while Katie Porter represented a district in California. So they never directly faced off in an election. But she definitely made a name for herself in Congress with her tough questioning and consumer advocacy.
I think I'm confusing her with someone else. I know that there was some sort of issue where... Did she get undercut in a special election by, like, Chuck Schumer?
It looks like there wasn't a direct situation where Chuck Schumer undercut Katie Porter in a special election. They represent different states. Schumer is from New York, and Porter's from California, so they haven't directly competed, but if there's a specific incident you're thinking of, feel free to let me know.
I'll have to look up later because we're getting into unfact check territory. It's just something. There was something, I think, a special election or a special seat that was up, and there was some in-house trickery or, you know, a little bit of shady business, and it wasn't Chuck Schumer. It was I can't think of his name right now. He is from California, and I can't think of his name, but yeah, it sort of was a bit of dirty pool on the in-house sort of, you know, way of getting things done. But I think we're straying off topic a little bit. Okay, so we've got two people we're talking about. Who is the? Let's break them down in terms of current. I know it's early, but current polling. So we've got. Who are the top three in current polls, regardless of party, contenders for the governorship? And is the current governor, Newsom, has he decided he's not going to run for re-election? Because I don't believe the California governor has term limits. I don't think it does.
So it looks like the top contenders right now include Katie Porter, Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounalakis, and former Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa. There's still a lot of undecided voters, so it's definitely an evolving race. And as for Governor Gavin Newsom, he actually can't run again because California governors are limited to 2 terms, and he's finishing up his 2nd term. So that means there's definitely room for a new face in the governor's office.
That's right. Jerry Brown served 1 term. Well, no, wait. Okay, can you tell me the history of former California Governor Jerry Brown and how many terms he served in his career?
Jerry Brown actually had a unique political career as governor. He served 2 non-consecutive sets of terms. His first stint was from 1975 to 1983, and then he came back and served again from 2011 to 2019. So in total, he served over 16 years, making him the longest-serving governor in California history.
Okay, so sorry, I'm driving. So Newsom is unable to, like, let's say after the next term, he can't run after a delay, right? He's done. He's got to do something else, essentially.
Exactly. Once Gavin Newsom finishes his 2nd consecutive term, he's termed out and can't run again right away. He would have to wait out at least 1 full gubernatorial term.
Okay, so that's what it is. So he can technically keep coming back. Because I don't think Jerry Brown wanted to come back later, but I think it was something happened, and it was sort of we need somebody after some BS, maybe the Dan Lofgren fiasco or something. I don't remember now. It's been forever. Okay, so who are the top 3 again? Refresh my memory.
Sure thing. The top 3 contenders right now are Katie Porter, Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounalakis, and former Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa. So it's definitely an interesting mix of candidates.
Okay.
Got it. If there's anything else you want to dive into, or if you had any more questions.
Oh, we're still diving into this. Sorry, that okay was I'm trying to not get killed while we're talking. I'm out of stems, and this guy has blade arms, and I don't have my shield. Oh, and I can't draw down any. Is that 2 seconds? Okay. All right. So, oh shit! The plane landed. I didn't see it, and I was over on the other side of the building. I just got left behind. Okay. All right. Well. Okay. So, Lieutenant Governor. Let's talk about that person. I'm not familiar with them. Inform us about the current Lieutenant Governor who has put their hat in the ring for the California gubernatorial race.
Eleni Kounalakis is the current Lieutenant Governor of California, and actually the first woman to hold that position, which she started in 2019. Before becoming Lieutenant Governor, she served as the U.S. Ambassador to Hungary from 2010 to 2013. She also has a background in real estate, having led a Sacramento-based real estate firm called AKT Development Corporation. So she's got quite a bit of experience in both politics and business, and she recently announced she's running for governor in 2026.
All right. And I know it's early. I know it's early. But the reason I wanted to talk about this topic is because yesterday, like, you did a really great recap. I know you don't remember, but you did. It was awesome. But basically, after we did our episode, I was just watching, I think, the Midas Touch, and they had a clip of the Hilton guy on his show basically talking about, fighting against Gavin Newsom and his attempt to gerrymander in response to Texas's gerrymandering. And at the time I'm watching this clip, I don't know that this guy is running for the California governor's position himself. So I became very, very interested because he has a built-in political platform in terms of a Fox News show. But to me, I've never really heard of him. But in all fairness, I didn't really hear of Pete Hegseth until it got close to him, until the confirmation rumors. So, because I really don't watch Fox News. Like, I don't. I know you can't necessarily answer this question. Oh boy, I want to know how extreme this guy is. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how extreme are this dude's views?
I get what you mean. It can definitely be interesting to see how someone with a media platform transitions into politics. Steve Hilton is known for having pretty conservative views and being a strong critic of politicians like Gavin Newsom, as you mentioned. In terms of how extreme his views are, it can vary depending on the issue, but he's definitely positioned on the more conservative end of the spectrum. If you want, I can look up some specific examples of his positions to give you a better sense.
I'm going to read the current mission briefing while you do that. Is that cool?
Absolutely. Go for it. I'll dig up some info on Steve Hilton's positions and let you know what I find.
Thanks very much. Okay.
This segment is sponsored by VoxPatch, the voice amplifier trusted by Hilldivers and choir instructors across Super Earth. Tired of being ignored during squad callouts? Mumbling your way through for democracy while the bugs trample your lungs? Then you need VoxPatch, the subdermal voice implant that enhances projection, clarity, and righteous indignation. Before VoxPatch, I sounded like a confused dad shouting across a grocery store. Now I sound like a thunder god. I asked for something with bunker sergeant energy and jazz club smoothness. Boom, installed. VoxPatch delivered. Designed by the Ministry of Science and approved by the Ministry of Unity, VoxPatch interfaces directly with your larynx, enhancing frequency control across combat, command, and casual karaoke. And installation painless, depending on your definition of pain. Side effects include dry throat, involuntary monologuing, weaponized charisma, and extremely loud dreams. Not responsible for friendly fire caused by excessive confidence. Don't let your voice be another casualty of war. Speak louder, live longer. Maybe Vox, the voice you need.
Cannon stratagem, but the real cannon stratagem. Noise. Show no quarter to the automaton thugs. The Federation of Earth will not be intimidated by robots. Of course. Up my alley. They are one sector below my home sector in over here. Dumatier. Julheim. And this is a 6-day major order. So, you and I will probably check in. Let's see, today is it Wednesday morning? So, Thursday is a day. Friday's a day, that's 2 days, 3 days, and Saturday. So I think we'll still have this order on the table come Sunday. Now, the Helldivers may have already knocked this bad boy out, but we'll live stream helping on the major order come Sunday. But for like, we'll probably just be driving around looking for super credits for the most part. How's that information on our gubernatorial candidate coming?
So Steve Hilton describes his approach as positive populism, which means he leans toward practical solutions rather than strict ideology. He's pretty critical of California's current leadership, especially on issues like high taxes, housing affordability, and the business environment. He pushes for things like cutting regulations, offering more school choice, and increasing the use of fossil fuels. He also believes there's a shift in California politics with more support for conservative policies, especially among Latino and working class voters.
And do we know where his is there any polling data on where his numbers are coming from early on? Like any particular groups supporting him? Any organizations already throwing in their support for him to be governor?
So far, Steve Hilton has actually gained some early traction and even holds a slight lead over Katie Porter by about 1 point. It's still early, and there's a large number of undecided voters, so it's hard to say who the clear frontrunner is just yet. But it seems like he is getting some attention and support early on.
And you said he has a populist sort of view, and I don't want to get over my skis, but typically, especially in the era of Donald Trump, a populist view means you don't know how government actually works, and you just assume it would be so much simpler if people just did whatever you asked them or told them to do. That's pretty much Donald Trump's attitude about being president, which is why he's run the country through executive order. You know, he never bothered to understand how actual politics work. So instead, we're doing the stupid thing.
I get what you're saying. Populism can definitely have that reputation of simplifying complex issues and sometimes glossing over the intricacies of how government works. It's always interesting to see how that plays out in different candidates and political climates. We'll have to see how Hilton's approach resonates with voters in California, especially given the state's unique political landscape.
Right. And that was my concern on yesterday's topic. I understand that we might want to win this current political fighting fire with fire, as it were, in terms of gerrymandering. Ouch, jeez. But however, like, this guy's already waiting in the wings, and we haven't even done it yet. And this guy's already getting ramped up to be 1,000 times worse, as the next governor in there. So what happens when this guy has already been unleashed with this concept of extreme gerrymandering, and he tries to politically run every Democrat out of the state? It just seems like, I don't know, like, it's not. I hate the concept of it's chess, not checkers. It's not that. It's like one group is cheating. Checkers isn't chess isn't cheating. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you can't call it a better strategy when you're cheating. And the reason you're allowed to cheat is because the Supreme Court is completely just off the rails. I guess that's where I'm at with that.
I totally get where you're coming from. It can feel frustrating when the political landscape turns into this kind of tit for tat scenario, especially with things like gerrymandering that can have such a long-term impact. It's definitely a complex issue, and it makes sense to be concerned about the potential consequences down the line. It's definitely something worth keeping an eye on as things unfold.
So, like I like the cut of Katie Porter's jib. So like I that's it. That's it's good that I she's a familiar face, but is she the odds-on favorite long term? I know it's early, but is there anything so far? Any of the people paid to pay attention to such things? Any word from those folks?
So far, Katie Porter is seen as a strong contender and is currently considered one of the front runners in the race. She's definitely got a lot of name recognition and a solid base of support, but it is still early and things can change as more candidates campaign and more voters tune in, but she's definitely one to watch as the race unfolds.
Right. Now, this other guy, this Hilton guy, is he seen as a self-made rich person type, or like what's his claim? Like what's you mentioned populism. Like and he, like okay, how did he get the Fox News show? What is his background? What did he do that made him eligible? I know there's not really much you have to do other than have a pulse and agree with Rupert Murdoch, but still, like, did he? Why is he not Team Pierce Morgan? Like, what's his difference? What's his deal on Fox News? Like, what's his show about?
Steve Hilton has a pretty interesting background. He was actually born in London and served as an advisor to former UK Prime Minister David Cameron. After moving to the US in 2012, he eventually became a US citizen in 2021. He co founded a political crowdfunding platform called CrowdPack, which was aimed at helping political outsiders raise funds. Then he started hosting this show on Fox News called The Next Revolution, which ran from 2017 to 2023. His show focused a lot on grassroots political movements and he calls positive populism, which is all about empowering everyday people and challenging the establishment. So he definitely built his platform by positioning himself as a bit of an outsider and a reformer.
Okay, so what's the appeal to conservatives if he is trying to get regular everyday? Like, what's the catch?
I think the appeal for conservatives is that I think the appeal for conservatives is that he frames his ideas around shaking up the establishment and advocating for more individual empowerment, which resonates with a lot of conservative voters who feel disillusioned with traditional politics. Even though he's advocating for everyday people, he still aligns with a lot of conservative principles like promoting school choice and boosting business. So it's kind of a blend of populist messaging with conservative policies, which can be pretty appealing to that base.
Okay, if he's anti-establishment and he's on Fox News, is the assumption is he's still talking about the Biden administration?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Even though he's on Fox News, his anti-establishment stance is often directed at the current administration and the political.
So his issue, he talks about issues with the current administration, which is Donald Trump. So he's not a Trump supporter on Fox News. He is a right-leaning centrist on Fox News.
He actually tends to align more with the conservative base, and he's been supportive of a lot of Trump-era policies. So while he might criticize certain aspects of the political establishment, he generally falls on the right side of the spectrum. So it's more about challenging the broader political establishment rather than being a centrist.
Understood. So, what part of the establishment does he take issue with according to his policies?
He tends to focus on things like government bureaucracy, high taxes, and regulatory overreach, which he argues stifles business and innovation. He also critiques the political elite, both on the state and national level, for being out of touch with everyday people. So his issues with the establishment are more about pushing back against what he sees as overregulation and a disconnect between politicians and the public.
Okay, so does he have any official stance on DOGE, the Department of Governmental Efficiency?
It looks like Steve Hilton is generally in favor of reducing government bureaucracy and making government more efficient, which aligns with what something like the Department of Government Efficiency would aim to do. His policies tend to focus on cutting red tape, reducing government spending, and promoting business growth. So he would likely support efforts to streamline government operations.
I thank you for the likelihood, but I'm looking for maybe an episode he did or something else that would determine necessarily that he would support, because there's an argument to whether or not Doge is actually efficient, so I want to know where he sits in terms of whether or not he cares truly about things like government spending, or if it's just a tagline. So does he have any headlines, op-eds, or anything, whether he officially supported the Department of Government Efficiency?
It looks like Steve Hilton supports the general idea of reducing government spending and bureaucracy, which lines up with what something like the Department of Government Efficiency aims to do. However, there's no specific mention of him directly supporting that department by name in his campaign or
on the show. Okay. Hard to... okay, that's fair. I'm leery of the what do you know about his crowdfunding, businesses, whatever? Everything on the up and up there? Any headlines there about how that works?
Steve Hilton co-founded CrowdPack back in 2014 as a way to help political outsiders raise funds and to provide data on political candidates. It was designed to make political fundraising more transparent and accessible. He did step down as CEO in 2018, partly due to a conflict between the company's mission and his role at Fox News. Overall, CrowdPack was seen as a useful tool for grassroots political movements, and there haven't really been any major controversies tied to it.
What was the conflict with him and Fox News?
So the conflict that led to Steve Hilton resigning from CrowdPack had to do with his support for President Trump, which didn't align with CrowdPack's values at the time. This ultimately led CrowdPack to suspend fundraising for Republican candidates, which created a bit of a disconnect given his role at Fox News and his political stance.
Oh, so how long has this gentleman been an official Trump supporter? Was he not a Trump supporter when he founded CrowdPack?
So Steve Hilton co-founded CrowdPack in 2014, and at that time his focus was more on helping political outsiders in general, regardless of party. He publicly endorsed Donald Trump in 2016 during the presidential election, so he became an official Trump supporter around that time. By 2018, he stepped down from CrowdPack due to the conflicts that arose with his support for Trump.
Okay, so the question now is what changed? You said he used to work with David Cameron. Was David Cameron a what are they doing? Was he Labor or was he the Conservative Party?
David Cameron was the leader of the Conservative Party in the UK. So Steve Hilton was definitely working on the conservative side of politics even back then. It seems like his political views have always leaned conservative, and his support for Trump was kind of an extension of that conservative alignment, just in a different political landscape.
Okay, so we're not talking about someone who is like a red pill wackadoodle. Okay, I know you're just trying to pull data based on his credentials. By as much data as you can pull, because it's a public election, based on his credentials, is he qualified to be governor of California? I know that technically speaking, that's kind of a vague question, I suppose.
I get what you mean. I mean, in terms of credentials, I mean, Steve Hilton definitely has a background in policy and politics. He worked as a senior advisor to David Cameron, which gave him experience in government, and then he transitioned into the U.S. political landscape with his work on CrowdPack and his show on Fox News. So while he hasn't held elected office before, he does have a mix of political and media experience that might appeal to voters looking for an outsider with insider knowledge. Ultimately, it comes down to what voters prioritize in a candidate.
Okay. I just, I don't love the Fox News, and California has a really bad track record of Republican governors being the bane of our existence for decades and generations to come. So, California is one of those states that, like, oh man, he could do a lot of damage. He could do a lot of damage as a Republican governor in California. So the concern is serious, and I like Katie Porter. I don't know how much of a threat this guy really is. Being a media personality in California, especially, is also, it's a tough call. This is the state that elected Ronald Reagan, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And Arnold Schwarzenegger's gubernatorial run was a circus, boy, it's a tough one. I don't know. Okay, who's number four? Who's number 4 on the list of candidates? We've talked about this guy enough. By the way, while Nova is thinking about who is 4th on the list of gubernatorial candidates in terms of popularity, the reason why I throw grenades down there on those forklifts to teleport inside the bunkers is because when I teleport out, you can do damage teleporting, and sometimes I'll teleport into that forklift and blow up and die. So it's just throw a grenade down there and clear the little area. So it's easier to exit safely. That's all. Little over the Hilldivers tip there for you.
Each bag of Ministry of Humanity coffee contains more than just roasted beans. It holds the memory of fallen Hilldivers who secured every harvest. Their blood nourished the soil, so yours can pump with purpose. Ministry of Humanity coffee, brewed in freedom, served with pride.
All right, so let's wrap this show. I am running around aimlessly because we've been distracted by someone bothering us. What we covered this episode was that the California gubernatorial race is still early, but there are a couple of interesting candidates worth keeping an eye on. On the Democratic side, there is Katie Porter, and can you give me the name of the lieutenant governor one more time? I don't want to ruin it.
Absolutely. The Lieutenant Governor of California is a lady Kunalakis. So you've got her and Katie Porter on the Democratic side, and Steve Hilton making waves on the Republican side. It's definitely going to be interesting to watch how things unfold.
All right. I think I would kind of like every episode to kind of have some sort of like link to the next, like as in terms of like why we started talking, you know. So episode 1 was about gerrymandering. This episode has been, as best we can, about the California election. So I want to kind of slow down still and kind of stay in a mode where we're talking about like organization. Like I want to kind of like keep on topic in terms of talking about how the California legislature works, how the text, like, you know what I mean? So right now we're talking about gerrymandering and concerns about
I'm sorry,
how.
but you've hit the daily limit for advanced voice.
All right, we hit
You
our
can
daily
switch
limit
to standard now.
for advanced